What's going on? So today I thought I'd do something a little bit, well, the same as usual. We're going to deal with some Raspberry Pi stuff. So in today's episode, what I want to do is have a look at the Pi stack / cluster that I've been working on. So I'll go ahead, I'll bring that up, I'll show you that, and then we'll dive into the actual web applications. So here we go. Okay, so this is the Pi stack cluster that I built on the weekend here. So I was playing around with it, printing out. I wanted to find a quick and easy case to print so I could start building my cluster. So I found this one on Thingiverse, and good thing I did, because it didn't require any screws, any standoffs, anything like that. I had some filament there ready to roll, so I figured why not go ahead and get that going. So after, a few hours of printing, I managed to get my case together, and then I started printing out, the top little case here, the little top part there to hold everything together and make it look pretty. This is how it started. It's built up since then. Right now I think altogether I have 7 Raspberry Pis. So I got another one to add to it yet, but it's being used in another project at the moment. So eventually we will have an 8-stack system. So right now I do only have a 4-port switch, or a 5-port, whatever you want to call it. It's 4 ports being used for the Raspberry Pis instead of Wi-Fi, which I probably should have done. It cuts out the switch, and when using it as a stack or a cluster like this, being able to turn off your USB ports is great because you can save yourself a lot of power and have it for your running processes. But unfortunately, the USB ports also run on the same chip as the Ethernet cable. So you can't turn one off or the other one, it has to be both. So this is what it looks like before I added the other stacks to it. Basically what I've done here is I had one of those USB laptop cooling pads, and I have just added that on, just zap strapped it there, and zap strapped it at the top there for now until I get my other stacks on there, get it all full. I got a tray to go on next, and maybe 2 trays, just to kind of build it up here, and then it should line up with my other 4 Pis on top of it, and so that should look good. So right now I have on the top rack here Pi 4, 4 gigabyte, and then we got down below one we have a 2 gigabyte. Then on the one down we have the Pi 3B Plus, and then for fun we have the Pi 3 on the bottom. So I wanted to use Pis that I had available because I wanted to use a bunch of different things. One for doing folding at home with Rosetta, with the Boink program, which has been great. I've managed to get that hooked up to all of them, and except for the Pi 3, I can't seem to get it to want to accept any jobs. But I've managed to get the 3B Plus and both the Pi 4s working. The Pi 4s are both running 4 jobs apiece, and I think the 3B Plus is only doing 1, which with the RAM capabilities and speed, that's okay with me. When it comes to temperatures on the Raspberry Pis, the maximum I'm getting is with this fan setup, these really quiet fans. I have that one case I just purchased that has the aluminum casing to it, and it's louder than that. So these fans are really quiet. You don't even know it's on. On the top here, I'm getting 45 to about 47 degrees Celsius under full load for over 20 hours. And then it slowly goes down the further we go down the list here of the Pi models, just because the power and the demands on them. I think the 2 gigabyte one is running a little warm as well, but that's expected these two to run a lot hotter than the 3 and the 3B Plus. That's just my take on it. So what I've done, I just wanted to show you what's the point of having a Raspberry Pi stack or a cluster. Well, for one, for using it with something like Rosetta at home, and I'll just quickly bring up my Boeing console here. So I've got it suspended right now. I have been running this on my desktop here when I'm not using it, so I do have jobs pending. On this one I haven't changed any of the settings to make it any faster or do anything more than usual because it is my regular desktop unit, and even under load I'm getting around 44 degrees or 42, sometimes less than that even with the case I have for my desktop. So to me that's pretty darn good. So you can learn more about Rosetta at home in the link in the description below. If you want to join the team, I'll post a link to the team there so you can join it when you get all signed up. We would love to have you come and join the team. But the first thing I want to do, let's go to my Pi cluster stack, whatever you want to call it. Right now it is being used as both. So the difference between a stack and a cluster is working together, where the stack is a standalone. They might all be doing the same jobs, but they're not sharing resources. So right now I have both going on. So they're both running as a stack, and when the stack's not running, it's being run as a cluster with if you haven't hit that like button, make sure to do so now. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, what are you waiting for? Docker. So with Docker it's great because you're able to do a lot of things there, which I was trying to get the Boeing manager working on there. I did manage to get it working, but it wasn't picking up all my Raspberry Pis like I'd want it to. It was only picking up the 2 4 models and sending jobs to them and not my other ones, which afterwards I learned that on the 3 I was unable to run Rosetta, so I was just getting errors out on it. So that made me kind of think, well, you know what, I'll just run it as a stack for now, and I'll put other jobs to the 3 while I add other Pis. And then so I've been working on Einstein at home on my 3, and another Model 3 I have that I run my 3D printer on is running it, and then I have another one running I think as well, doing a Yeti at home and SETI at home. So I've got 4 total that I'm doing work for, and I think it's pretty cool. Let's have a look at one of the Raspberry Pis. Let's check out the master node here first. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up here. Okay, so I'm just going to bring up HTOP here just so you can see that yes, it is moving along. As you can see, my swap is actually pretty big. So this has been going for 22 hours ish. As you can see here, I've got the 4 processes running, and they're doing their work there. So if I get out of here and I go to if you've installed Boink, make sure to install the TUI as well, and that's just your sudo apt-get install Boink TUI if you plan on using it in a more of a kind of a stack scenario, which is what I'm doing. I want to save my cluster for I wanted to use the Buster Lite version, so I didn't want a desktop, but I still wanted to be able to do this and kind of look at everything that was going on. So as you can see, I do have my tasks going here, and they're moving along. and that's great. So this is my master node on my Pi cluster. So to exit out of here, we're just going to press F9. That brings up the menuing for it. A lot of people, when they first install it, don't know how to bring it up. So that's how you bring up that. So I'm just going to go quit. If you want me to go into more details on anything, just let me know and I'll do another video on anything you guys might have questions on. So we'll close that out there, and then we're just going to go into my other one. Let's try 4.4. I think this is the Pi 3. Oh, no, it should be 4.3. There we go. Had to look at my notebook on that one. So, oh, we're in slave 1. So this should be the 2 gigabyte Pi 4. Once again, we can see that we do have 3 Boeing processes going here. So we got 22 hours and 17 on the one there. I'm just going to go ahead and quit that guy, and we can go to the Boeing TUI again, and we can see that yes, indeed, it is running here. So get out of here again, and we'll just close that guy down. I want to find the Pi 3 here. Have a look here. Yeah, so this is the 3B plus. As you can see, it has a memory issue here, so it is only running one at a time here. So that means I have one more I can check out here. So let's go F9. Actually, we can just close that out. And as you can see here, I am running Einstein on this one here, which is the Pi 3. So the trade-off with the 3B plus is I can run Rosetta at home on it in the 64-bit version, but I only get one instance running because I don't have enough RAM to be able to do anything more than one instance. So I have to take that into consideration when thinking, is it worth it, or should I be running both on Einstein? Now, for now, I am going to leave it on Rosetta, because if there's anything I can put on it, I will do it, even if it means not fully using the system's resources to its fullest potential. Now, I don't want to add, go to the projects and add another project, because chances are Einstein might take up more of my processes on the Pi 4 2 gig or the Pi 3B plus, and I want to make sure that anytime I use it, it gets used with the Rosetta at home instead of the Einstein. So that way, even though I could probably run an instance or so with Einstein at home on it, I don't want to plug it up with more than one instance. So that way I always have a Rosetta at home running on it. So now we've gone through that. That's running it in a stack mode. I go to each one. I run the Boeing manager or Boeing app and run Rosetta on it, and there we go. So now what about when it comes to cluster aspect? Well, for this I installed the Docker, and then I installed Portainer, which is great, and this is what I was originally trying to use to get the Boeing to work all as one unit. But since there was too many different versions of things going on, like with the 3, so if I ran the 32-bit version of the Boeing client, I'd probably be able to run Einstein on all of them without any issues. But since I had to do some configuration on the Pi 2 and the 3B Plus to be able to run it, there would be no way for me to do that through this method. So to me, that's why I switched over until I play with this more to see if I can actually get the cluster to start talking to each other and finding out more ways to configure those images to run the 64-bit images for it, which, you know, I did manage to get it to run, but it wasn't sending the jobs. If we go to the cluster visualizer here, so I've got my units here, so it would send jobs to all of my other my cluster here, or my nodes I should say, and they would get rejected. A lot of the time it would have to do because the memory for this one here, it would connect, but then once something filled up with on the memory, it would boot it out and reject it, saying that there was not enough memory, and because it needs 1.97 and it was just a little bit under that or something like that, or 1.907, I don't know, it was a different number. So then I went and was getting the same thing on my slave 2 and 3, but it was running absolutely fine on the Pi cluster master. So the only way I can think to do this would be to run more Pi 4s on a cluster like this, just so they can take the workloads, but other than that, I've just been playing around with this, getting used to it, and this is my year of the Pi. Right now, you know, we're only, you know, what is today? Today is April 15th. So I have a long way to go in my journey this year with playing with Raspberry Pis. So this is another one of those chapters where I've just been starting to play with. I've always been interested in them, but I never had enough Pis to make it worthwhile to do. And because of the great generosity of Element 14 and the road test program there, I've managed to get quite a few now throughout the years. So I'm ready to try other projects with them, and this is one of those ones that was on the list there of things to do. So I'm definitely going to try a bunch of different things. Like, I used to run on my Raspberry Pi 2 my own web server on there, which I would love to be able to do this on a cluster for load balancing and security, and building up my own little server network with it. So I ran my Pi 2 for, I think, 2 years, maybe close to 3 years, non-stop, no issues with it, and to me that was an amazing thing. I was so amazed that I had this really cheap small computer that was costing me pennies to run, and I didn't have to pay anyone for hosting or anything like that. I could just run everything off of my Raspberry Pi. So this would be good. This would make it so I could add a lot more features to a website, allow more traffic through, add so much more, because then I'd be able to actually do more when it comes to load balancing and actually seeing what's going on and being able to adjust for that. So I know my home network would be fine and handle the traffic going in and out, but making it safe and secure is another thing. So that's another thing I need to kind of come up with a new method for doing that. So just because people like to play around. So I'm going to say that's it for me today. If you have any questions about anything that you've seen in this video, post them down below. Let me know. Possibly something we can do a video on later. Your ideas really help drive this channel, and thank you everyone that has subscribed. I can't believe that we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. So keep it up. Make sure to hit that subscribe button today. And once again, thank you for watching, everyone. You have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. Take care, eh?